Hello, this is Bino. I'm an ISA certified arborist and a certified tree worker. What I like to do on my channel is share tree climbing tips with beginners and experts. Today what I'm going to do, I'm going to talk about the taut line hitch and if you're going to use it for, say, the ISA tree worker exam. So what I wanted to do is break it down in a few different ways of tying it, the traditional method, the split tail method, and talk about some of the things that you should know when you're going to come to the test, like if you're going to have a sonai on your rope, that kind of thing. All right, let's get to it. I've been an evaluator for ISA for close to about 20 years now, and a lot of times the guys will come and they're going to take the test. You know, they're people who've been in the business for many years. Some things that they don't think about or know that you should know about this test, or say if you have a rope and your rope has a sonai or a splice tie, it's important that if you do have one of those ropes, that you want to have the important information on it. So like this friction cord, it has all the important information. It has the safety notice on it. So if you have a rope and it's a splice or a sonai, that should be on your rope. If you don't have that, there's a good chance that you're not going to use your rope. And you'll have to use, maybe the opposite end and use a termination, if that's the idea. Also, we're going to talk about a taut line. So in a taut line hitch, there's a few different ways of tying it. You can tie it in a traditional way. And that's a good thing. You can do that. I also want to go over this because a lot of times they'll tie it and it's going to be, they'll just use the one rope. You'll tie your knot and then your friction hitch, and through your test you're going to have to untie and retie. So that's something I want to go over also. If you have a splice tie on your, say if you're going to use a split tail, this is way too large because it's not meant for a split tail, but a lot of the split tails have an eye like this. And if you were going to use this, say on a carabiner, you want to make sure you would do a girth hitch. You can't just connect it to your eye and climb like this. Okay, so if you were going to do a climb and you have one of those split tails, and honestly, they're not going to be this big. Normally they're like this. You would want to do a girth hitch. So, and you should know how to do a girth hitch. Some people, they come to climb and they don't know how to do a girth hitch, and then they tend to go back to the traditional method just because they don't know the girth hitch. Girth hitch is real simple. Just bite through it. If you have a split tail, they would allow you to climb this way because it bites down on your carabiner and holds it in place. Now, if you had the other kind of split tail and you don't know how to do that, you would probably just go back to climbing like the normal way. You could also use, in place of a split tail with an eye, you can make yourself up a split tail, and it's legal to use. You can do a termination on a chunk of rope. Just make sure your termination knot's correct and you have the right length. So you could also use something like this in your climbing system if you wanted to use a split tail. So first what I'll do is I'll demonstrate the traditional system with a taut line, where I'm just going to tie it to, it's going to be all in this one piece of rope. What you'll want to do, now this is, normally you'd get set up in a bullpen and then they would call you over if you're going to do your knot, your knots. But I'm just going to show you a few different ways, and then we'll go over how it would go when they're getting ready to test you. So with this method, you can get, you want to get the right length of rope. So if I'm going to tie everything in once, I probably want to get a good length. And because it's in a clip, remember you want to have all the proper gear. If you have a clip, it's got to be double locking and it's got to have the right ratings. So what I'll use is, since it's all in one, I'll probably just use a bunt line. So I'll go around, I'll tie this here. Okay, it's all in line here. Okay, all right. Get it tied, dressed, and set. Now I have my clip connected. Now, if I'm going to be doing the taut line, I'll get the right length that I need for my bridge. I'll do a couple wraps downward, 1, 2, and then I'll go above my bridge, and then I'll go a couple more wraps, moving in the same direction. Okay, so here's a setup. Now, with a taut line, I find that you always have to put like weight on your line for it to grab. All right. And now, once you get your taut line tied, it's going to have, you know, your bridge is going to come out one side, your tail is going to come out on the other. It's going to look pretty much like a clove hitch, but double the clove. You want to tie a stopper knot. I'll put a figure 8 on this, and I'm going to keep it, because it's a taut line, I'll keep it close. So this is a system that you can use. It's all in line, and you put it on your clip. Now here's the thing that people don't think about. This is a timed test. So in advancing your line, you have to retie and untie your knot multiple times. So I do see a lot of people still coming with this system, you know, when they go to climb the tree, and a lot of times they do really good, but they run out of time because the amount of times that they have to just untie this and retie it, it really sucks up the time. That's something that's really tough. If they had a split tail, which we'll go over next, it would really give them an edge on getting through their test. So yeah, it would be tied in this way. This is just one option, and having a clip and whatever knot you use for this, this is how you do it. So the next thing I'll show you is a split tail with a taut line hitch. So here I already have double fisherman's tied. If you're interested in learning this knot, we already have a bunch of videos on this. You might have a look at our channel, look this up. So this will be your termination. When you're going to come up to the test, this is, you know, they allow this to already be tied. If you're going to use a split tail, remember, if you're using a split tail, you want to make sure that if you have a splice size sonai, it has the important information, you know, the ratings on it. And if you don't, you're probably not going to be able to use it. So for our demonstration here, we have a termination with also a double fisherman's, and it's something you can do. It's just a piece of rope with a termination on it. It's legal to use. So to tie this, you'll have your you'll connect your termination to you, and then you'll connect your split tail to your saddle, and now you'll tie it just in the same way. So in the taut line, the way I tie the taut line is I start, here's my bridge, this is the length that I want. I'll go a couple of wraps downward, and now I'll do a couple of wraps above. And when I'm doing a couple of wraps above, 1, and then here goes 2. Now get it all lined up. All right, got to put some weight on it. Okay, so we've tied, dressed, and set it, and now all I need to do this is important. If you're using this, you need a stopper. So the figure 8 stopper, and I'll always kind of put it close to the hitch so it won't run very far on me. So you would be good to go. This would be something that's legal to use. And what's good about a system with a split tail is when you're ascending up the tree. So, you know, you get up to there's like a 20-foot mark, you get up to there, and once you get it there, you can throw the rope as many times as you need. So in the old way, if you just have that piece connected here, you have to untie this and untie your clip. Now, if you're throwing your rope super high, you're gonna have to take your clip off. If you're gonna throw it about 5 feet above your head, you can leave your clip on. So when you're advancing up, you get up to the tree, you unhook your lanyard in. When you're advancing, you can take your termination off, and then you can just lob it over the next branch, and then you can clip it back to yourself. That's where the speed will come in when you're taking your test. So you don't have to retie this over and over. And honestly, it does make a difference if you have to make a lot of throws. So that's a fine point. So now I'll do I'll go back to, like, say they call you over to the tree. We'll get to that next. So now we're going to say that you were at the bullpen, the evaluator already called you over to the tree, you have already run some of your knots, and now you're at the point where you're going to choose your friction hitch, and your friction hitch is a taut line hitch. So, and you're going to use a split tail. You're not going to tie it in, but if you want to tie it in, you can do it either way you like. So we'll clip in with our termination, and we'll have our split tail ready. Now the evaluator will run the rules over, and when you tell him what you want to tie, you have to make sure that's the right hitch. So you don't want to tell him I'm going to tie a taut line and you tie a prusik, or you tie a Blake's, because you're not going to get it correct. You're not going to know. They can't tell you. They're just going to mark it off on your test. So you got to make sure that knot you're tying or your hitch that you're tying is the one that you're actually tying. Okay, so they explains to you, you have a minute to tie. He'll get you all ready, and then he'll let me know when you're ready. You tell him ready to tie. So now you're going to get to the tying part. You bring your line over, time's already started. You're going to do your 2 wraps downward, and then you're going to do your 2 wraps up. You're going to go up above and 2 wraps in the same direction. You're going to tie, dress, and set it. And you want to make sure it's tied, dress, and set. You want to make sure it's tight. You load it where it's not going to be running on you. You want to make sure that it's not going to slide. Now you go to tying your stopper, which is required. You got to make sure you do a stopper on your tail. You get your stopper tied. Make sure your stopper's right. And this is a figure 8. You've done your load test, so pull up on it. Your knot's loaded, it's not moving. You let him know complete, so he'll check it out. So this is how you tie the taut line hitch, and the way, if you were taking that tree climber exam, you get to that area, they tell you you got a minute, you tie it, get it tied, dressed, and set, and hopefully you do it proper and check it out. You want to make sure that you practice it. Even if you know this, you want to practice it and get prepared. When somebody hits a timer on you, a lot of times people's mind just goes. Also, keep in mind about the split tail system. Even if you're using a taut line, something like that can really help your time. And it is a time test, so anything that can help is a great help to you. I've seen so many people come with just the regular traditional climbing system, and a lot of times they fail just because they run out of time. Anyhow, I hope you guys like this video. Comment, like, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell, and by all means, share our videos. Take care. We'll see you next time.